Hey guys, time for our final topic for this course, pricing negotiations. We'll talk about why you should never give in to pricing discussions. Take a random look at any company's CRM and run a reason loss report for all of their opportunities for a given period of time. You will be astonished at the huge number of deals that will be marked as lost, with reason loss being pricing. Whenever it's up to me, I advise my clients to simply remove reason loss from their CRMs. And you know why? Because I strongly believe that pricing is a nonsense objection, and that it's nothing more than an excuse and a cover-up. I also believe that the sooner we admit this to ourselves, the stronger we're going to be in our sales conversations. Here's why. First, it's a cover-up. Anytime a client says that your price is too high, you have to be mature enough to admit to yourself that you simply haven't done a good job in either establishing trust or in convincing your client that the value of your offering surpasses largely their investment. But we all make mistakes. So if this happens, just take a step back and try to work on identifying the underlying objections. Here's what I do. I simply ask my client, let's set pricing aside for a moment. Let's not worry about it. Let's try to imagine that there are no budget limitations. Then I ask, now that pricing is not an issue, are you willing to commit to that contract today? The information that pours out is essential in helping you identify the real underlying objections. You could hear anything ranging from, I'm still actually waiting for 2 more proposals that I need to consider. This means that you need to work on trust and on matching your needs. Or they can say, I would still need to present this to my board, which means that you're not talking to the decision maker in the first place. Or they can say, well, I'm not convinced that this is exactly what I need at this point in time. And this means that you need to work on value and timing. However, before you dig out the underlying objections, you will not be able to overcome them. And by the way, I use this as a rule of thumb in the purchasing decisions that I do myself. I try to set pricing aside and to decide whether, if the price was not an issue, I would buy this in the first place. Many times the answer is no. So in a sense, we tend to subconsciously limit ourselves in our decision making by thinking, well, this is way too much money, I simply cannot afford it, without thinking whether the purchase would bring us any value in the first place. However, once value is clearly established and we're clearly convinced in it, the price tag becomes nothing more than that. Just a detail in the normal life cycle of a business transaction. Number 2, pricing negotiations are a setup. The customer is trying to set you up, wittingly or unwittingly. Once you go into the pricing discussion, all you can do is lose. The question is how much and how long would it take before the customer squeezes until it bleeds and you place the boundary. And this process can be very energy consuming and very sapping. It's essentially a losing game. You lose face, you discredit yourself. You lose money through the discounts you're providing. You lose ground with the customer. They know that they can manipulate you now that you've shown them that you're actually weak. So why not swap things around and place that boundary very early into the pricing conversation. That way, you can establish yourself as someone who is strong, confident, and someone whose offering is of high value. Number 3, pricing discussions are a losing game. It's really meant to devalue your proposition. And it's quite ironic really, because by catering to your client's need for a better price, you are validating their statement that you're not worth your pay. We speak of low quality and of being cheap, and that is downright scary and suspicious. So, unless your goal is to position yourself as the cheapest company on the market, then there's absolutely no reason for you to worry that someone is going to be cheaper than you. That's not what your focus should be on. Instead, try to gravitate around the value which you are going to bring to your customers. Think hard about whether you yourself are convinced in the value that your product is offering. If you aren't, then that's a good place for you to start at. Readjust if you must, but please make sure that you or the people that represent you are truly convinced in your offering's value, and that their focus is not on the money, but on empowering and facilitating your clients to achieve their goals. Now that's a mission to be proud of. Thank you so much for attending this course, and stay tuned for level 2.